Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Recharge Podcast. It's been a minute, but I want to share a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Many of you probably don't know that I work in a capacity as a weight loss physician, and one of the huge topics comes up is muscle loss with weight loss, and that's a huge problem, particularly with the newer injectable drugs utilizing GLP-1 type drugs for weight loss. And so I want to talk about protein and satiety, that feeling of fullness that keeps you from raiding the fridge every hour. We all know that protein is a champion for building muscle, burning fat, but did you know the way you consume it can significantly impact your hunger levels? Buckle up, because we're about to explore the science behind why solid protein reigns supreme for keeping your appetite in check. There are certain physiologic factors, particularly the gut-brain connection, that play a huge role in satiety. First off, I think we need to talk about the dance between your digestive system and your brain. Solid food proteins here take center stage. There's three things I want to talk about here. The first is chewing and eating time. While chewing a juicy steak isn't just about breaking down the food, it's a sensory experience that sends signals to your brain, a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, and this is part of the control center. It's giving a signal like, hey man, I'm eating, and this extended chew time allows your body to register the intake and adjust hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin, and adjust those accordingly. A protein shake, on the other hand, it's gone in usually seconds, or maybe if you sip on it in the gym like I do in the morning, and I do believe that there's a role for protein shakes and protein liquid supplements for sure, but on the other hand, it's gone quite quickly, and it really leaves the brain, the hypothalamus, a little bit confused, and your stomach potentially rumbling. I have to confess that I can have 30 grams of protein in a 16-ounce shake with some nut milk, or a combination of nut milk and water. And oftentimes when I get back from the gym, I am starved. I'm ready for some eggs or some sourdough toast with kraut, whatever. The next factor is gastric emptying. It takes a bit more time for solid food to travel through the digestive system compared to liquids. The rule of thumb is anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours for the stomach to empty after a meal. And there's a variety of mechanisms inside the stomach, like stretch receptors and the prolonged presence of food in your stomach, that can trigger a release of a very special messenger hormone called CCK, which is cholecystokinin. Not important that you really know the name of that, but this sends a fullness alarm to your brain. It's letting you know it's time to chill on the snacks, and your brain hopefully will respond accordingly and shut down the need or the sensation of needing to stick more food in your mouth. The third is hormonal response. The act of chewing and having solid food in your gut also stimulates the release of another peptide, which is also a protein called PYY. And it's another satiety hormone. This is just another way that your body, along with the CCK I mentioned above, can signal to the brain that you should be feeling satisfied and less likely needing to eat or snack more often throughout the day. So if you're struggling with weight control or body mass index issues, this is just a way, not to hack, but just to rely on your own innate physiology to trigger a sensation of fullness. Let's move on to some psychological factors. This is getting beyond just the physical part of chewing, and it's not just your gut that's involved. Protein-rich whole foods do offer some psychological advantages as well. There's two things here that I want to talk about. The first is visual cues. So if you're looking at a shaker container with some liquid in there that's usually brown or off-white versus a delicious piece of chicken or fish. I'm plant-based for the most part, so just seeing that, your body will cue into that. It's not just your imagination, but the visual cues about the portion size also play a role in satiety. A protein shake, on the other hand, just doesn't quite offer the same appeal. I think if you pop open the fridge and you see a container with some protein shake in there, or you see a nice piece of Swiss cheese or maybe some beef jerky, most of us are probably going to gravitate towards what my mom or grandmother would call real food. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I just wanted to throw that out there because many of you probably have that same ingrained type of language cueing. The second piece of this is the cognitive satisfaction. So the act of sitting down at the table, enjoying a meal with a friend or a family member, can be much more psychologically satisfying than walking around the house or the gym sipping on a shake. This can impact definitely the way you perceive the sense of fullness and the influence of how long you stay satiated. Unfortunately, I'm recording this in Western United States, and we tend to eat rapidly and move on. I spent a chunk of time in Europe over the years, and the way that food is consumed, it's much more of an event. It's much longer in duration, and it has definitely some psychological impacts that I don't think many of us experience here in the U.S. for the most part. I mean, some family may sit at the table for 2 or 3 hours, and that has a definite psychological impact as well. The last part I want to talk about this is the power of fiber and volume. Let's not forget the supporting casts in our diet. There's other things besides just the macronutrients, and many protein-rich whole foods like meat, fish, legumes come packed with fiber. Fiber is the bulker of the diet. It adds volume to your meals. I mentioned earlier in this podcast about the stretch receptors, and this is just another way to further enhance the sensation of satiety. This combination punches a 1-2 combo on your hunger, and it helps you keep the sensation of feeling full longer. So the bottom line is, I strongly recommend prioritizing whole foods. Obviously, we're busy. If you're an entrepreneur running a business, have family, children, it's not always easy to get a full meal balanced with fruits, vegetables, protein sources, and all that. So I think there's definitely a role for protein shakes and supplemental protein products in the diet. But protein shakes, although they can be a convenient way to boost your protein intake, but if you're relying on them solely, it might be the best strategy long-term for satiety. For optimal hunger management, I think focusing on a variety of solid protein sources into your meals is key. And remember, your body thrives on diversity, so the gut-brain connection will thank you for prioritizing whole foods. I'm not talking about the restaurant or the chain here. I'm talking about actual things in your refrigerator. But as a way in science, everything varies individually. So this podcast is for informational purposes. I can't offer a blanket statement on how much protein a specific person could or should intake on a daily basis. That varies on a variety of things: age, kidney function, liver function, underlying health problems, previous gut surgery. There's a whole host of factors that go into that. So if you're somebody who really wants to prioritize your health, maintaining muscle mass as you age, which is a huge differentiator between longevity and wellness and performance as you age. So just talk to your provider, your health practitioner, whoever you see. I think it's important to have some expert insight into your underlying baseline health and come up with a plan and a strategy that optimizes whole food and supplementing with protein shakes or other protein-rich sources of snacks, if you will. So the next time you're looking to conquer your cravings, ditch the shake, grab some solid protein-packed meals. Your brain, your gut, and your waistline will thank you for it. As always, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you want to share it with somebody, that would mean the world to me, or leave a rating or review. We're just getting rolling here with a new format. So thanks so much. Have a great week. Stay safe. Stay well.